Lucas and I had been bitter enemies for half our lives. On our deathbeds, we stared at each other, spitting out the most venomous words, hoping never to meet again in our next lives. He hated me for tying him down with marriage and children, robbing him of his chance to become a singer in New York. I despised him for his constant partying and drinking, leaving me to care for his sick parents and our 2 children. And in our mutual hatred, we were reborn. We locked eyes in the crowd, then turned away without hesitation. This time, we hoped neither of us would have any regrets. The day I changed my college application, my dad walked into the study, glanced at me, and nodded approvingly. Good. With your high scores, you should attend a top university. Stop chasing after that Wilson boy. What's so great about him anyway? My mom, hearing this from the kitchen, rushed in and pulled my dad away, giving him a stern look. I watched my parents leave, smiling, but suddenly felt a lump in my throat. In my previous life, I had run out late at night to find Lucas at the train station. My parents searching for me were killed by a drunk truck driver. I never got to see them one last time. Fighting back tears, I moved the mouse and clicked the confirm button to change my college application without hesitation. In my previous life, Lucas, my childhood sweetheart, suddenly announced he wanted to become a singer and pursue his dreams in New York. But before that, he had always said being with me and attending the same college was his dream. I had even wasted my high score of over 600 points to apply to the same average college as him. But 2 days before the acceptance letters arrived, he suddenly said he was going to New York to chase his dreams. His sick parents, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, came knocking on our door in the middle of the night, begging me to help find their son. In my previous life, I went. My parents worried about me, followed, and ended up in a car accident. Lucas was later found by me. When he heard his parents say that my parents' deaths were his fault, they insisted he had to make it up to me. So they forced Lucas to get engaged to me, planning for us to marry right after college graduation. But I got pregnant in my sophomore year and had to take a break from school. We hastily got married. I went through pregnancy and childbirth, and took care of the baby. 2 years flew by, and just as I was excitedly planning to return to school, his parents fell seriously ill and came to stay with us for treatment. Lucas told me to be understanding, saying his parents had already worked so hard for his education, and now they were sick and needed care. As for him, of course, he had to go to work to support the family. At the time, to save Lucas's face, I didn't mention that his monthly salary of $3,500 wasn't even enough to cover the children's formula and normal household expenses. Later, I had to sell our old house to pay for his parents' medical bills and raise our 2 children. But while I gave up my education and struggled to manage the whole family, he was out making a bunch of fair-weather friends with his meager $3,500 salary. What little money he had left, he spent on making music, claiming he was fulfilling his dream. Crushed by the pressure of family life and after several failed attempts at communication, we started having huge fights. He began calling me bitter and narrow-minded, saying if it wasn't for me forcing him to come back, he would have already become a big star in New York. He even accused me of using my parents' death to emotionally blackmail him into marrying me. I didn't hold back either, calling him delusional, saying his terrible voice made his dream of becoming a singer nothing but a pipe dream. When he brought up my parents' death, I went crazy, lunging at him to shut him up, only to be violently pushed away. After that, Lucas deliberately started staying away from home. His parents, unable to see their son, blamed everything on me, complaining that I was immature and petty, only knowing how to anger their son. They completely forgot how they had begged me to find their son in the first place. In this miserable life, I gritted my teeth and tightened my belt to do odd jobs and earn money to support the family. But the children I had worked so hard to raise were never close to me, instead being affectionate towards the irresponsible Lucas. I thought the children would understand when they grew up, but I waited for over 20 years until they were married with families of their own. But they competed to have Lucas live with them, while remaining cold and distant towards me. Mom, you controlled us too much in the past. We don't want to hear your lectures anymore. Dad's youthful dreams were stifled by you. Now that he's older, we want to take him to New York to chase his dreams again. Grandpa and Grandma were right. You just want everyone to live according to your plans. You're so selfish. I never expected my children to say such things. Devastated, I returned home to find Lucas smugly packing his bags, gloating that he was about to leave me for a better life. After dedicating over 20 years to this family, all I was left with was a reputation for being selfish and controlling. Why did Lucas get to be so carefree, never taking care of the family or responsibilities, yet ending up as the open-minded father in our children's eyes? I rushed forward and pushed Lucas. He was stunned for a moment, then immediately grabbed a vase and smashed it towards me. Damn you, you dare to lay hands on me? I'll beat you to death. So our deaths were actually the consequence of our mutual assault. As we both fell to the ground, I was still praying in my heart, if there's a next life, please don't let me meet Lucas again. The day I was reborn happened to be the day I changed my college application. Seeing my parents still by my side, I was determined not to get involved with anything related to Lucas again. After the college entrance exam, parties came one after another. I had just finished a gathering with close classmates when I saw Lucas in the distance, laughing and chatting with his buddies. I heard Lucas isn't going to college. He's going to New York to be a singer. Wow, isn't that the trendy thing now, chasing dreams in the big city? If he becomes a big star, should we ask for some autographed photos now to keep as investments? Ava, didn't you grow up with Lucas? Did you know he was going to New York? My friend nudged me, and my gaze happened to meet Lucas's as he turned his head. With just that one look, I was certain that Lucas had also been reborn. I don't know. I have something to do. I'm leaving first. I turned away without a second thought. If he wants to go to New York, let him go. What does his life have to do with me? As the day of Lucas's departure drew near, I whined to my parents about missing Grandma and wanting them to take me to see the new pony at her place. My parents always doted on me, so they packed up without hesitation and took me out. Just then, Mrs. Wilson opened her door and was surprised to see us leaving. Going out? My dad nodded with a smile. The kid misses her grandma, so we're going for a few days. Mrs. Wilson smiled and nodded, watching us leave. I pretended to be nonchalant, but in reality I was clenching my fists tightly in hatred, trying not to let my emotions show. It was laughable how in my previous life, I thought Mrs. Wilson truly cared for me. It wasn't until later that I realized her intentions were never pure from the beginning. She had long had her eye on our house, which was why she worked so hard to bring Lucas and me together after my parents passed away. Back then, having lost my parents, I was crying every day. The gentle and good-natured Mrs. Wilson took care of me daily, making me let down all my defenses. Add to that my feelings for Lucas, and I naturally agreed. Little did I know that they had been planning this all along. I took a deep breath, hiding the slight trembling caused by my anger, and started chatting with my parents about Grandma's new pony, while catching a glimpse of Lucas hurrying away out of the corner of my eye. Lucas must have realized that I had also been reborn, so he had to move up his plan to run away and chase his dreams. My parents and I had just arrived at Grandma's house and were enjoying dinner when Mom received a call from Mrs. Wilson. Lucas is insisting on going to New York to be a singer. He's not going to college anymore. Now he's acting like it's a matter of life and death, and his father and I can't talk him out of it. Could you ask Ava to come back and try to persuade him? After all, the two kids are close, and Lucas listens to Ava. The script was almost identical to my previous life. Mom looked at me, a bit troubled. After all, it wasn't easy to go back at this time from the countryside. I calmly put down my chopsticks and took the phone from Mom's hand. Mrs. Wilson, this is Lucas's own decision. I have no right to interfere, and even if I did, he would resent me for it. I think you should respect his choice. I hung up decisively, not forgetting to block Mrs. Wilson's number. My swift series of actions left even my parents stunned. Grandma was the first to speak up, telling them to continue eating, muttering that other people's business is their own karma, and we shouldn't interfere. I thought Grandma's words couldn't be more right. After dinner, I was crouching in the yard, petting the dog's soft head, when my parents came over. Ava, what's been going on with you lately? Mom hesitated. It feels like you're different somehow. Dad didn't say anything, but he looked at me with concern. Their gaze made my nose tingle, and as I wiped my eyes, I realized there were actually tears. Mom, Dad, let me tell you something. I had a dream. I lied about having a dream and told them everything that happened in my previous life. When they learned that after their deaths, I had been manipulated by the Wilson family all along, Dad's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. They always believed me, especially since I said the story began with Lucas wanting to go to New York and Mrs. Wilson begging me to find him. They also understood why I suddenly wanted to come to Grandma's house and why I adamantly refused to go find Lucas. Oh, my dear child, my precious baby. My mom was always easily moved to tears. Even though she knew it was just a dream, she quickly hugged me, her tears falling on my head one by one, feeling incredibly sorry for me. Dad lit a cigarette nearby and made a decision. Ava having this dream might mean that the Wilson family is bad luck for us. I've decided. We'll move as soon as we get back. Get far away from them. I didn't expect my parents to support me to this extent. My nose tingled, and I nodded tearfully. At the same time, I hugged Mom tighter, feeling her warmth. We stayed in the countryside for half a month, and I noticeably tanned quite a bit. When we left, Grandma packed a car full of food for us. We still had to live in the old house for a while before moving. As soon as we arrived at our front door, Mrs. Wilson quickly opened her door. With red, teary eyes, she looked at us, unable to hide the traces of resentment in her gaze.